Hey guys, it's Kevin, and this is going to be another movie review for you guys. Now, this movie we're going to be reviewing. I have wanted to review this movie for a very long time. It came out back in February, I think, like the end of February. It didn't come on to Solar Movie, though, till now, and I'm like, there's no way I'm seeing this in theaters. I wasn't interested in it that much. I didn't really care, but I wanted to review because I just like reviewing. I just wanted to review it. I wanted to see how it was, and, that movie we're going to be reviewing is The Lazarus Effect. The Lazarus Effect, I'm pretty sure everyone has already forgot about this movie, but it came out at the end of February, February 27th, and it finally came on a Solar Movie, and I figured, you know what, let's watch it. I know nobody's going to care, but let's watch it anyway. And overall, I really had no expectations for this movie whatsoever. I didn't know how this movie was going to be. I didn't know what I was getting into. And after watching that, because I didn't watch a single trailer. I didn't watch a single trailer for this movie, and all I knew was the basic plot, which I thought was really interesting. But overall, how is the Lazarus Effect? Not really that bad, but it's not scary. It's not scary. It's very forgettable. It's very forgettable, but it's not terrible. It honestly is probably one of the better horror films I've seen in a while, but it's not really a horror film. I'm going to talk about this, but the plot to The Lazarus Effect I find to be very interesting. I think it's a really interesting plot overall. Basically, there are these doctors who have developed a serum codenamed Lazarus, and basically is intended to basically bring dead patients back to life, which I think is really cool. However, of course, some things do end up backfiring, and they soon realize that this is not a good idea and things like that, and that's basically the plot of the Lazarus Effect, and I really don't have I don't have too much to say about this movie. I really don't. I'm gonna quickly sum up my thoughts on this movie. I'm gonna talk about what I like, what I didn't like. There actually are a lot of things that I do like about this movie. First of all, let's get to the acting. The acting here is actually really good. Definitely. Everyone here is doing a really good job. No one here is doing a bad job. And that's because we have a really good cast here. Mark Duplass is really good as Frank Walton. He's our main character here. And you really see that he thinks this is going to work out. He really thinks he knows what he's doing here. That's something I like, is that they're not idiots in this movie. There are no idiot characters in this movie. There's no character where you scratch your head and like, why the hell are they here? Who would hire them? There's no one like that. They think that this is going to work. And they don't realize it's not going to work till it ends up backfiring, and I think he did a really good job in this movie. Definitely Mark Duplass did a really good job. I've been really impressed by him lately as an actor. You know, he has a really successful TV show, Togetherness, and I was hoping this would be just as good, and he did a really good job here. Definitely. He doesn't have a lot to do, but he did a good job of what he had. Olivia Wilde was actually really good in this movie, and I was surprised by how good she was, because I haven't seen Olivia Wilde ever give a good performance, and she gave actually a really good performance in this movie. Especially towards the third half of this movie, she was actually pretty creepy throughout this movie, I have to say, as Zoe. There's some great, in the beginning, there's some great banter between Mark Duplass and Olivia Wilde, because they are married, I believe, and I think it's really, that their interaction I thought was really funny. I definitely enjoyed their interaction overall. I thought that was some of the best parts of the movie, was the humor in it, but she did a really good job, definitely. I liked her character, and I thought she was really good. Sarah Bolger was really good. Evan Peters was really good. Donald Glover was really good. He had some great lines in the beginning, definitely. Everyone did a really good job. That's really all I have to say about the acting, and there's nothing else I really have to say about the acting. All I'm going to say is that I did not care about a single character. Not a single character I really cared about, and that's just because of the fact that the way the movie is constructed. It's not so much that they were boring characters. I just didn't really care about them. I didn't, and I'm going to talk about why. The directing by David Gieb is really good, except I don't feel this should have been a horror movie. I feel this would have been a much better psychological thriller, because the movie's not scary, and that's my biggest problem here, is that this movie is not at all scary. There's no point where you feel like you're scared. There's no point where you feel uncomfortable. This, basically, to me, just felt like a psychological thriller, and I feel like David Gelb should have pushed it to be more like that and less like a horror movie, because it's not a horror movie. If it's not scary, it's simple. You failed your job as a horror movie. So if you look at it as a psychological thriller, it's actually a pretty good movie. I just felt like he should have depicted it more as a thriller and less as a horror movie, because it's not scary. It's not. I've seen far scarier movies than this. This is not scary. It's not, and it's not really, it's really the directing. That's really the problem here. The writing is actually really good. The third half of this movie, it was awesome. The writing became awesome, And it really does pay off, I have to say. I will say that it really does pay off. There's some stuff I really like. Cinematography here was gorgeous. Oh my god, the cinematography here was amazing. I will say the best part of this movie, the scariest part, is the opening credits. There's some very creepy imagery in this movie, and I heard people say this. This movie actually does have some pretty creepy imagery. You see this imagery and you sit there and you're actually pretty creeped out by it, and that's good because this movie, that's something that this movie does have. Is some pretty good, really creepy imagery that really does make you feel uneasy, which I thought was really good. I was happy they had that, and that was something that I was not, thinking, but I really like they had that creepy imagery in there. Definitely worked really well. And as I said, there's this really cool opening credit sequence where you see like this bug and what it does to it. It's really cool the way they did that, and I thought that was really awesome. The score is awesome to this movie. I thought the score was really creepy, really eerie, and that was really good. The editing, this movie's way too short. It really is. Without credits, this movie is 77 minutes, and it's way too short, and you feel the shortness of it. I was watching it, I'm like, it's already over? Seriously? Now, I'm not saying that that was a bad thing. I'm just saying that it was way too short, and I feel like the only reason for it not to be the only way it could not have been forgettable is just make it longer. And that's the thing with this movie, is that it's incredibly, incredibly forgettable. I'm going to forget in about 2 months. I'm going to probably forget in about a few weeks that I watched this movie. It gets incredibly forgettable really fast. There's nothing about it that's that unique. There's nothing I haven't seen before, but it's not bad. When you compare it to, like, other horror movies of last year, I mean, I've said before, this is shaping up to be a really good year for horror movies. I mean, we've had It Follows, Unfriended. I heard those two are really good. And this honestly could be a comeback year for horror movies. It really could. I mean, especially with It Follows and things like that, I could definitely see that happening. This is not one of them. This movie is nothing. There's nothing incredibly remarkable about this movie. There's nothing incredibly forgettable. There's nothing incredibly memorable about this movie. The only thing that's memorable is that it does have some creepy imagery. It does have a good plot overall. It has characters that aren't dumb. I just don't really care about them. And in the beginning, they try to focus a lot on them, and it was really boring. I will say, this movie does get boring. Definitely. It's boring. The third half of this movie is awesome, but the first two halves were actually very boring. I was not into it at all. I really was not into the dialogue. I wasn't into the story. When I don't care about the characters, why should I give a shit about the story? It's that simple. Like, I really like the story. I just don't really care about the characters. I don't find anything true unique about this movie. This movie, if I had to give it a grade, I'd probably give The Lazarus Effect a C+, definitely. C+, C minus, C+, something like that. There's nothing too remarkable about it. There's nothing I'd say I want to watch it again. And that's why I'm keeping this review short, because there's really nothing to say about it. It got incredibly forgettable really fast. After watching it, I'm like, I'm never going to remember this movie. I'm never going to remember watching it. There's nothing I can think of that will make me, want to watch it again. And it's just got incredibly forgettable really fast. But that's my review of The Lazarus Effect. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw this movie if you have seen it. As I said, it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just nothing memorable. And I'm happy I didn't see it in theaters, because it would have been a very bad movie theater experience. It's not memorable. It's not scary. There's nothing that remarkable about it. And that's really all I have to say. So that's really it for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for another movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.